What's up, co-reporters, and welcome back to my channel. I am back. When I tell you, I only ever feel like myself when I have like big curly hair. I mean it. But let's talk about Briana Dejesus here. She made an announcement on her Twitter page the other day. It's actually a health announcement that was actually quite shocking to me because I had never heard about this condition. I'm going to be rather honest with you guys. Before Teen Mom, first there was Macy, then there was Kale. I believe that there have been other women on the show who announced having this condition. And to me, it's just so fascinating because I don't know anyone in my personal life who's got the same condition. I don't have it, knock on wood. That stays that way. My friends don't have it. No one in my family has it. I know that in my family, people can have fibroids, but not PCOS. But Briana Dejesus let it be known on Twitter that she was diagnosed with PCOS. And she actually started talking a little bit about how like it has affected the way that she looks at her daughters, with the idea that these could be the only kids that she can have moving forward, which is rather interesting. I do want to ask you guys a little bit about that moving forward, but can we just get into how ironic it is that not only is Briana Dejesus sharing men with Kale and Larry, now she is sharing medical conditions with Kale too, right? So let's take a look at her announcement. Then we're going to discuss a little bit more about what exactly is PCOS and a lot more. So Briana tweeted just yesterday, and I quote, "Your girl got diagnosed with PCOS recently, and there's so many cysts in my ovaries, they stopped counting. Knowing that Nova and Stella may possibly be the only kids I have or birthed is such a weird thing to come to terms to. But cheers to the Lord above. It's all in your hands now." So for the uninitiated, such as myself, let's get into what PCOS is. PCOS stands for Polycystic Ovary Syndrome. It's a common health condition that affects women of childbearing age. It is characterized by a hormonal imbalance that causes enlarged ovaries with multiple small cysts. These cysts are not harmful, but they can interfere with ovulation and make it difficult to get pregnant. Symptoms of PCOS include irregular or absent periods, excess androgens, which are male hormones, such as testosterone, which can cause irregular hair growth, acne, and male pattern baldness, increased risk of obesity and type 2 diabetes. We're going to get into that a little bit later. Infertility. And then people talk about how PCOS can affect infertility. It doesn't automatically mean you're going to be infertile or anything like that. It just it can possibly affect your fertility. And so here are some of the ways in which PCOS can do that. The hormonal imbalance of PCOS can affect ovulation in several ways. Number one being reduced ovulation. Women with PCOS often ovulate infrequently or not at all. This is because the high levels of androgens, which remember are male hormones, can interfere with the development and release of eggs from the ovaries. Number two, irregular ovulation. Even if women with PCOS do ovulate, their ovulation can be irregular. This means that they may ovulate at different times each month, making it difficult to time intercourse for conception. Number three, blocked ovulation. The excess androgens can also cause the ovaries to produce too much fluid, which can block the release of eggs. And so there is no cure for PCOS, but there are some ways in which you can treat some of the symptoms of it, I guess, such as with lifestyle changes, losing weight, eating a healthy diet, getting regular exercise to help regulate your emotions and improve ovulation. Number two, medications. Medications like oral contraceptives and metformin can help regulate hormones and promote ovulation. And number three, assisted reproductive technology. So in some cases, women with PCOS may need to go through IVF and things like that in order to achieve pregnancy. So that's a little bit of an overview of what it is, how it can affect women's lives, and how it can be managed medically at home and with doctors as well. So Now, I am really sorry to hear that this is a condition that Briana Dejesus has been diagnosed with. I know, again, Kaylin has it, her arch nemesis, and there's also Macy Bookout, who has been diagnosed with PCOS. In fact, I think she is the first teen mom from the franchise to be diagnosed with this condition. And so her storyline has kind of revolved around trying to raise awareness for it for a while. I know she was doing some sort of a run to raise money or awareness. I know she has spoken on Capitol Hill about it to get some more money for research, et cetera, et cetera. I know that the show likes doing some sort of crossover stuff, so maybe we might see Macy in a future season of whichever show they're filming at that time, counseling Briana on how to manage PCOS and whatnot. Guys, by the way, who else in the franchise has PCOS? I know there are more women, but I am forgetting right now. So if you know who the other PCOS sufferer, or should I say sufferers, PCOS diagnosed women are, please do feel free to leave them in the comment section, because, you know, I am forgetful here. So let's get into the tweet that Briana announced her PCOS. And so she says, knowing that Nova and Stella may possibly be the only kids I have or birthed is such a weird thing to come to terms with. So, you know, that does have to be kind of like a scary, scary thing. But I think that maybe Briana can take solace in like the fact that she does have these two girls, right? There are many women with PCOS who don't have any kids and have to spend a lot of money in IVF and other procedures in order to have even one child. So the fact that Briana was able to fall pregnant accidentally, not once, but twice, is quite impressive already, right? But I do understand if she wants to have more kids moving forward, how painful that might be. And one of the symptoms that we mentioned about PCOS was that it can put you at an increased risk of obesity. And so I saw in the comment section under Briana's announcement, a lot of people said, well, do you want to take back some of the things you said about Kale, you know, and her weight and whatnot, and how you treated her and that treadmill you sent her? And Briana started playing dumb about it. She's like, well, I didn't send her a treadmill to call her fat, even though we had seen her poke at Kale over her weight on the show, which is quite ironic because Briana is not a thin girl anymore either. And there's nothing wrong with it. And I think even as a thin girl, you shouldn't be going after people for their weight. But it's just crazy to me that someone who's not thin themselves is going to go after someone else and fat shame them and say that you're not thin enough, which is just, it's wild to me. And it's really, really, really sad and inappropriate. And I wonder if now having the same condition that Kale has will make her feel at least slightly more empathetic towards Kale and her own battles with her weight and other things as well, right? But only time would tell. I don't think it will, but it's worth a wonder. Okay, you guys, it really, really is. I'm quite shocked to hear this announcement from Briana, to be honest with you guys. I haven't heard about her in a while now. So like she was kind of out of sight, out of mind. I think I heard rumblings that she started dating somebody recently, but that was about it. I don't know if it's lasted or anything like that, but that's about it that I've heard from her. So now so outside of the obesity and stuff, so she was, you know what, why don't I share my screen with you guys? Because she was posting on her Twitter account about metformin. So and by the way, you know where I got that write up to share with you guys about PCOS? I got it from ChatGPT. I said, I want to have like all this information about PCOS, but I don't want to be reading it word for word off of like a website, because that's not good. That's plagiarism, right? So let me ask ChatGPT to explain it to me so that I would be able to understand and relay that information to you guys. And ChatGPT came through. So my screen should be sharing with you guys right about now in regards to the tweets that Briana had been sending under this PCOS diagnosis announcement post of hers. So if that would just come on over, baby, we would be able to take a look together, right? So here you go. I will zoom in because that is looking rather small. Boop, 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 boop. So here's her announcement. And then someone says, oh, Lord, not this big. Someone says, I'm not even trying to be funny, but this is what Kale had when she gained all that weight and you sent her the treadmill. Briana goes, LMAO, I didn't send her a treadmill because I thought she was overweight. We know that's not true. Briana has called Kate a fat. See you next Tuesday on the show. You don't send, I don't think if Kale were Macy's size, for example, Briana would be sending her a treadmill. I don't think so. You know, I don't like when people play dumb about malicious things that they do. Just own it. If you're shady and stuff, own it, especially if you feel like your shadiness was justified, right? And at this time when Briana sent Kale the treadmill, what happened? Kale had filed a lawsuit against her because of Chris Lopez or something like that. She wanted to find out if Briana had been sleeping with Chris, and she paid $200,000 to find that out. I'm like, imagine paying $200,000 to find out if someone was sleeping with your broke ass baby daddy who lives in his grandma's attic. Down bad. But I digress. That is besides the point. It very much is. So anyway, now that was like, one of the tweets that came up about it. And so people had been giving her some tips, and she talked about metformin. She says that she had ordered metformin or another medication to help kind of manage the weight and everything like that. And she wanted to know other people's takes on it. And so other women who have PCOS were sharing their own takes on it. Apparently a lot of people don't really care for metformin. They say it gives you the RENs, which I wasn't aware of. I'm not sure. I don't know. But alas, that is one of the things. There's something else that she said here that really stuck out to me. Give me a second. Guys, I think that's it actually, that we covered it. One thing I want to understand a little bit more is the infertility thing. You know what I mean? Because I feel like the teen mom girls make it seem like when you're diagnosed with PCOS, it's impossible to have kids. Meanwhile, they all have multiple kids, right? Kale, since being diagnosed with PCOS, has gone on to have 3, 4 more kids. 4. There's Lux. So yeah, since being diagnosed, she said, oh, the reason I got pregnant with Lux was because the doctor diagnosed me with PCOS and said that I only had a short window of time to have more kids. So, I rounded Chris up. We went to a strip mall parking lot. We bumped it. We grinded it. We laid it low, spread it wide, and Lux was conceived, right? And then after Lux, what happened? She had Creed. Then she had Rio. Then she had twin 1 and twin 2. I think one of them is supposed to be named Valley and the other one is something else, right? So 5 kids since being diagnosed. And then Briana, before being diagnosed, and this is the question I have for you guys, if you guys are in the medical world or if you have PCOS or anything like that. But my next question was, just because you just got diagnosed with it doesn't mean that you didn't have it all this time, right? When you were already having kids. Is that what it is? Like, I have to look into this. So I've got so many questions. I'm like kind of at the mouth because these are questions that I'm going to go back and watch this video and look up the answers to myself, which is number 1, how long, is it possible that she had PCOS all this time and just didn't know it? You know what I mean? So in which case it's like, well, you see that you're fertile already, right? And number 2, I think there was a second question I had, but I blabbered too long, so I forgot the second question. Yeah. Oh, and so the other thing is the obesity thing. They say it puts you at an increased risk of obesity, but it doesn't necessarily make you obese, or it's not necessarily the thing. For example, Macy Boquette has PCOS, and she is a very, very skinny mini girl. She's had Bentley, she's had Jade, and she's had Maverick, and she's still very thin, right? So it's not necessarily something that will make you obese or anything like that. Just like it won't necessarily 100% make you infertile. It's just you are at a increased predisposition to these things, right? There's someone else. I feel like the other person who has PCOS is also on the thinner side, but I could be wrong. Anyway, you guys, this is a little bit of an update. Jade, I am sorry to hear about you being diagnosed with PCOS. I'm happy to see that you've got a community of followers and people who support you, who are also in the same boat and able to provide firsthand information and advice and encouragement about it. And I hope that I hope that Briana, alongside Macy and perhaps Kale and other teen mom stars, will be able to use their influence or continue to use their influence to raise awareness about this, so that there can be more funding for the research required to find a cure for it, because this seems to be something that very, very, very heavily and negatively impacts many people's lives and their fertility and certain things like that, and their weight and whatnot. And so I really would love to see a cure for this. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on all of this moving forward. Perhaps this will be part of Briana's storyline, because mind you, this is not the only thing that Briana has been diagnosed with. She's also been diagnosed with lupus, right? So she really has a lot going on with her body. And it's sad, it really is sad. I wish everyone the best of health in the world, because I think health is the best form of wealth you can possibly have. And so when you hear about, young people, especially being diagnosed with all these things, you just, my heart can't help but to break for them. But I digress. Guys, let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.